most of us are just following there's no as such passion thing.
Exactly.
We are just following our parents' passion
or just old myths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you have only these paths, engineer
exactly.
or doctor.
Yeah. But that's not true. It's not just a straight line that you can follow what others have followed.
Indeed.
But you can also do a zigzag path,
Indeed.
which sometimes can be a beautiful journey.
Yeah. So you are just like kind of mugging up before exams. It's like in Hindi we say ratamar. So you do this and study just one night before the exam.
Exactly.
And that's where we lack a lot.
We always only choose things which we hear or we think are common.
Yeah.
But we should not do that. It's always important to do what you think is right and what you enjoy, because if you do that at the end, I think you're more productive.
Yeah, true.
And you are less frustrated with your life. Even if you like your job or even if you like your PhD, if environment is not supportive, you feel burnt out and you don't feel like working. What people think about you or what your colleagues think about you, what your friends think about you is important, but at the end you have to live your life.
Yeah. Hello Pratika.
Hi.
So how are you?
Good, Piyush. How are you?
I'm also good. And how's it going with your life?
Good. Normal work life.
Balance. Okay. Then we have to talk on this.
Yeah, there's always this
Because
common question.
Indeed. And people are always promoting this thing, work-life balance, everywhere, whether it is academia or industry.
Yeah.
So it's a great topic to discuss, to maybe debunk some myths, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, let's start with maybe about your journey. Maybe our audience will also be curious to know about your journey from, let's say, from your high school. So how was your life in high school? Because you grew up in Agra, and it's a kind of historic city, and I don't know how it is in terms of education or in terms of science. So if you could just walk us through, then
Yeah, thank you. So I was, like you said, I was born and brought up in Agra, the city of Taj Mahal. And that time, actually, of course, I knew it was a seventh wonder, but like you say, if you have something, you never know the worth of it.
Yeah.
And as a child, I had to go to Taj Mahal every Sunday, most of the time, because we have friends or relatives coming over. So every Sunday we woke up at 6 a.m. going to Taj Mahal. So as a child, I was really bored going there. But coming back to what I studied, so I did my schooling from Agra as well. And so in school, I was always kind of a studious child. And there also, I was told to maintain studies with physical activities as a child. So my parents always emphasized on that.
Okay.
However, I somehow didn't really feel it was important to also play along while I was studying.
But you were already training yourself for being multi-talented or multitasking, both.
Yeah. So that time my parents actually emphasized that I also played while I studied, says because that was also important. So they made me join swimming, badminton.
Wow.
And actually, I'm really thankful to them because now I'm really good at least badminton.
Okay.
So I could thank them for this, that they kind of emphasize this balance even in the childhood. Because otherwise, I saw my friends whose parents were always emphasizing just on studies as a child, and they were always under pressure to join IIT, to join some medical school.
Typical Indian parents.
And then I was actually thinking that why am I not being pressurized? Is it something not normal? And actually I went back and I asked my mom that so I see my friends, they already know what they want to be in 10 years, but I don't know. Okay. Is it okay? Because I'm in 4th grade, I should also know that if I want to be a pilot, a doctor, or an engineer.
Already in 4th grade. Wow.
And yes, and she told me that do you really want to know now? Because you first should learn how to do some basic stuff.
Yeah, true.
But my friends, their parents already knew what they will be.
Yeah. As I said, I mean, typical Indian parents. So they kind of impose certain things to their kids to, let's say, pursue engineering already or doctor.
Yeah.
So they will kind of implant from
Yeah.
starting already that
Yeah.
you have to become engineer.
Yeah.
So you should be good in maths also. If you want to be a doctor, then you should study science and biology mainly. So you are getting this kind of how to say information which is feeded already from your childhood. So that's how people think that I will become this or that, but later on they change because when they are exposed to the reality of education or maybe also their interest, if they figure it out that their interest is something different, not biology or not engineering, something totally different. So maybe some only, I think, fewer percentage of people, especially from India, they carry out this kind of interest in their let's say career or so. But most of us are just following kind of, there's no as such passion thing.
Exactly.
We are just following our parents' passion kind of.
Or just old myths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you have only these paths, engineer or doctor.
Yeah. But that's not true. I mean, as we know, there are a lot of other career options which you can pursue.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm honest, so I also eventually when I started I came to high school, I realized what my interests are. So I was interested in biology as well.
Okay.
And like you said, that if you think you are interested in biology, the only option you think of is a doctor.
Yeah.
And that's what I also thought, not because I wanted to be a doctor, I had passion for being a doctor, but because I didn't know anything else.
Yeah, because there isn't as such kind of career guidance or information around.
Exactly.
So we know only fewer options. Even if you go for, let's say, bachelor's or master's, then also you will see that most of the students, they don't know what to do next. So they just go with the crowd. Like if people are doing, let's say after bachelor's, they think, okay, there's no as such option, so they go for master's. After master's, they figure out, okay, now what? Either prepare for some exam for a government job or go for PhD.
Yeah.
So some people do it as an option, not as a passion.
Because everybody else is doing that.
Yeah, that is the thing. So yeah, I think we should, especially in India, people should more focus on this career guidance, and that's why we are here.
That's why we are here.
We have started this podcast conversation to not only share our journey, but also to give some career advices as well.
Of course.
Or options.
Yeah.
So that people are aware from their like kind of high school already that what are the options.
I mean, at least they know that it's not just a straight line that you can follow what others have followed, but you can also do a zigzag path, which sometimes can be a beautiful journey.
Yeah, totally agree with you.
So yeah, I wanted to go in biology line, and I was lucky actually that time that while I was deciding if I have to be a doctor, I met some of my father's friends. And they told me, do you know, Pratika, that you can also do biotechnology? And at that time, nobody knew in India what biotechnology is.
Okay.
Not that I'm very old now, but people were not aware of biotechnology because it was still an emerging field. But it was also kind of medical, but it just involved not just being a doctor, it was more research based. And this kind of stuck into me. I was like, I mean, I just want to do something in medical field or in research field. But yes, that's an option. I could do a biotechnology course also. And that's how I kind of ended up in VIT, which was actually just south of from where I was living. So I just traveled across the country and went there, new culture. So this was also a good experience. And all type of, so it was an international university. So I had colleagues and classmates from all over the country as well, and also some international crowd. So this was kind of my first exposure to international classmates, which taught me a lot of things. So adjusting, how you see the cultural differences, how you learn from people, and in other countries, when you see that people knew about this biotechnology beforehand, unlike me. So this was really nice for me.
So is it because of like lack of information around, or because of let's say the place where you belong? Let's say because Uttar Pradesh, if people hear that UP, then people think that it's a backward kind of province or a state, but that's not the case fully. But is it because of that, or what was the situation like in VIT? Whether people were already aware of this field, biotechnology? Or...
I would say, if I talk about my city, my state, so yes, you're right. I think it's because during our school or high school, we are not given too much career guidance.
Okay.
And this is not a subject. So there is no subject where you are taught that, hey, what is your interest? What would you like to be? Or what are your areas which would you like to focus on? We are just told that there is either engineering or medical.
Yeah.
And this leaves a black box where students don't know anything. I mean, even I didn't know it.
Yeah.
If I have not met some friends or some other people, I would have still not known it. In VIT, people, yes, like you said, they were from bigger cities, metropolitan cities, and there they had so-called career education, also in the school sometimes, or they had exposure to other external career guides. But like, not everybody can afford to have the service.
True.
So this is also one of the drawbacks. But yes, I think this is important that at least now when we are moving forward, we could do some kind of subjects at school level.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, either teachers. I mean, good thing is social media is really nice platform, and everyone is using. Even if they are in a school, people are using from their high school already. So, and that's why we are also kind of promoting these things on social media.
Yeah.
Because instead of scrolling through useless content, you might end up having a better content like ours. So it might be beneficial for students to get to know about the options, opportunities, because most of the people, even if they know that, okay, these are the options, people kind of restrain themselves because they think that, okay, there isn't that much opportunity, or maybe I won't be able to afford, because that's also the case because of financial issues, and we will come on that as well, because since you did your masters from Germany, so it would be also interesting for people. But yeah, let's come back again to your VIT journey. So yeah.
Just a short indulgence in this. I think you're really doing a really good job here, that you are doing these podcasts and making people aware, because I think this is the need of the hour at the moment, for all the people who are now who will see this video or who will follow, like you said, to know this kind of content. Yes, coming back. So VIT was a good exposure for me, and these 4 years really helped me build a lot personally. Like, not just to know about the field. Of course, it was really good in biotechnology, no doubt. But I learned a lot as a person. I mean, VIT was one of the best years of my life, I would say, in shaping my career journey, because that's actually when I realized I could do a master's abroad.
Okay.
Because if I was in some other university, maybe I was not even aware if I really want to go abroad or not.
Yeah.
So this helped me kind of shape my mind. So after VIT, of course, I also did an internship in NCBS Bangalore.
Yeah, it's a prestigious institute.
Yes, and there also, because there were international crowd and students, I saw that maybe this is an option that I could go now after my bachelor's to abroad. And then the question came, but in which country?
Okay. Interesting.
And like you mentioned, finances was one of the reasons which was posing a question mark in my mind, that which country should I choose?
Yeah.
But of course, if you're going abroad, you just don't want to go anywhere. So I wanted to go somewhere where I could continue my passion in science and in field of biotechnology.
Yeah.
But also I could not spend too much money. And I was aware that, of course, initially I have to take some help from my family, because I was not so self-sufficient that I can spend lakhs of money on my own.
Yeah, most of us are in the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, after your bachelor's or even after master's, you are still dependent on your parents. So yeah, this is the case.
So I worked for 1 year also between my bachelor's and my master's in India in a pharmaceutical company. Because that time I was preparing my applications for foreign universities, and I just wanted to utilize this time.
Wonderful.
And there I also enjoyed working, because it was drug discovery and learning something new. So I applied to US, UK and Germany.
Okay. And what was the criteria kind of for choosing these countries?
Um,
Was
yeah.
it just biotech, or let's say job opportunity and research? And what were the criteria?
Honestly, that time I didn't know if I want to do a job,
Okay.
if I want to do a PhD. So I was blank.
Okay. So you were going with the flow.
I was going with the flow. To be really honest, I didn't know if in 5 years what will be my return of. Of course, I was seeing my return of invest. This is for sure, but I didn't know from what source. So I applied to all three countries. I got an offer from UK, from Edinburgh, which was also a very good university, which is a very good university. But like I said, the fees was a lot. Even after scholarship, the fees was a lot. Then I got admission, not like full admission, but I got offer from John Hopkins, US.
Oh.
But in the final stage, they wanted me to come to US and give the interview. And this was also financially constrained for me, because if I don't get selected, I would just get a US trip but no admission. So, and then the announcement deadline for German decision was already over. So they told me they would come back to me in August end, but the date passed and I did not hear anything.
No.
And of course, I thought, okay, maybe I'm not selected, because that's what everybody would think.
Yeah.
And then I was every day just thinking what I have to do, in which country should I go? Should I pay so much money? Should I put my parents in debt? What should I do? Or should I just compromise and stay in India? And I was struggling with these thoughts. And one day, actually 2-3 days later, I got an email
From Germany.
from German university, from Heidelberg, saying that I am accepted.
Just to mention that Heidelberg University is a very prestigious university throughout Germany. I mean, I don't know the exact ranking in the world, but within Germany, it's like top 10, top 5 actually. So it's the best university and oldest university. So that's a kind of great news for probably that time you got.
Yes, my parents were very happy, and I was also very overwhelmed and very happy. I couldn't handle my emotions at that time. Maybe I overreacted also a little bit. But now my second milestone was to get a scholarship there. So I then applied for international student scholarship, and I also got lucky there that I got a full tuition fee waiver there.
Wow.
So in that case, all the cards were in favor of me, and I applied for the visa, and I finally could land up in Germany for my master's. Just to mention, I applied for molecular biosciences program with specialization in molecular and cellular biology.
Okay.
This was a 2-year course program, but of course, in Germany, what I like is you can always do your master's or your bachelor's very flexibly.
Yeah, that's the good thing.
This is very good. So unlike Indian universities where you have a fixed period of time, you can be a chooser here. You can do a lot of side jobs, a lot of side tasks, and manage your time.
Yeah. And for example, let's say if you want to enhance your research skills within your master's, then also it's a nice possibility because you can join some lab within your master's, or you can take a break maybe for a semester, or if you feel like that, okay, maybe 5 or 6 subjects are a little bit stressful for me, so I will just take only 3 subjects. It's a wonderful option.
It's a wonderful option.
Otherwise in India we have like,
we are so stressed all the time.
5 to 6 subjects in one semester, and you have exams like one after each other.
Exactly.
So you are just like kind of mugging up before exams. So it's like in Hindi we say ratamar. So you do this and study just one night before the exam.
Exactly.
And that's where we lack a lot. And here it's like you have to really study to pass the exams, because it's not like you can just ratamar and
I struggled already. This was my first struggle moment when I joined the master's program, and I was so used to this Indian culture, like you said, like learning and just passing the exam, and then the reality hit me actually. I'm like, okay, now I landed in Heidelberg University, but how do I make it? So my first exams came up, and when I realized that teachers here do not want the mugged answers,
Yeah.
but they really want to see how much you know about the subject.
Yeah.
So I had to really, and they don't give you a solid material to learn.
Yeah.
It's an open source. So you have the internet, you have an open 4 or 5 books, and anything can come from there, because they need to know how your concepts are, how good you know the subject.
Yeah. So kind of practical based questions,
Yes.
or conceptual questions,
Exactly.
rather than like very generic question what we
Yes.
get in
Yeah.
general exams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is also kind of managing your time, right? Because you need to, of course, you need to pass the exam, that's different, but you have to manage your time, because now you have the World Wide Web at your disposal, but you cannot study everything.
Yes.
So you need to manage, learn how to manage, and this is what they expect you to do. How do you manage your time? And not to mention that all of us, because we're coming from different countries, we also do some part-time jobs there,
Oh, yeah.
along with our studies.
Yeah.
So this is also something which I learned, because I was also doing a HEVI here. So you are studying and you are working, and this is also a kind of balance what you learn here, which I think in India I would have not. Or what do you think?
I think it's nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Because as I said, I mean, you have time constraint to pass all the exams, and you have to study like all the subjects, and you barely get time to balance, like have this time management thing. Here, as you mentioned, that if you want, you can choose only 2 to 3 subjects.
Yeah.
Just focus on that, and rest of the time you can utilize, or you have to work more towards this time management to have this at least proper balance of study and also working, because you also want to survive here
Exactly.
as well, with your finances, because expenses are a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And you cannot always ask your parents to support you at this stage. So it's really, I mean, challenging, but it's a learning process.
It's a learning process.
Yeah, it's a very good learning process. And on this time management thing, if you could like kind of share your experiences, some examples or something like.
So what I did was, because I always thought that if I do a HEVI in my same field, this was my thinking, and maybe I was not completely right here. So my friends, my classmates and my friends from India who were also in my batch, they also worked in a bakery or in a restaurant, or they did some other kind of jobs, because they said, we're already studying biology, I don't want to do a HEVI in biology. And I was completely opposite. So I said, I'm already doing biology, why not do a HEVI in biology?
Yeah.
Because maybe this would be an experience.
Totally.
So I think it's nothing is wrong or nothing is right.
Yeah.
So this I really want to make clear, because what people feel is maybe they would feel I'm doing the right thing because I'm increasing my points on CV. But others would think, no, her friends are doing right because they need some relaxation also. Maybe when they do work in a restaurant, they meet new people. They do have interactions, which is also exciting, right? So I would really emphasize here that nothing is right or nothing is wrong. It's what you want to do.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end, it's experience.
It's an experience. So like you also said, we always only choose things which we hear or we think are common. But we should not do that. It's always important to do what you think is right and what you enjoy, because if you do that at the end, I think you're more productive.
Yeah, true.
And you are less frustrated with your life. You are less stressed. And this is very important to also maintain a healthy mind and balance with your life. So this is how I did. So I did my HEVI in a molecular biology lab, in a plant biology lab. And I wanted to kind of mix this with my master program for 2 years. I also did a out-of-the-box internship, which was not included in my master's, because like you said, you can manage if you choose 3 subjects or 2 subjects. So I kept very minimum for my last semester. So I did most of my subjects in 1.5 years. And in last semester, I wanted to do a voluntary internship, which I did in a marketing and consulting firm in Mannheim. It's known as Knowledge Agent. And this was something I did because, which is also the topic for our today, I was not sure if I want to continue in academia or if I wanted to do a PhD. Because all my friends, they knew they would do a PhD. And I also kind of knew I wanted to do a PhD. But when I was asked why I wanted to do a PhD, I had no answer.
Because the thing is, people think, again, coming back to your initial point, what you mentioned, that people think that there is a straight line.
Yeah.
That bachelor's, master's, PhD, postdoc like this.
Yeah.
But it's not the case. There are like plethora of options at each stage.
Yeah.
And it's really nice that you kind of pushed yourself out of the box to explore other opportunities like in marketing or these things. So yeah, it's wonderful thing. Yeah, and
so this was just a test for myself. Actually, it was a self-knowing test, because when my parents asked me, okay, what next after masters, I said PhD, and they said, why do you want to do a PhD?
okay,
Actually, my brother really asked, why do you want to do a PhD? You know, it's 4 years or 5 years of your life.
yeah,
I said, yes, I know. And then he said, yes, then tell me, why do you want to do a PhD? And I had no answer. And then I said, okay, let me explore some other option, because if I am bored in that option,
yeah,
then I really know I want to do a PhD.
yes.
But if I'm not, then I don't know if I want to do a PhD.
And good thing is, I mean, during your masters, especially if you're doing some kind of voluntary internship or some other internship, then it's a very nice option to figure out what do you want to do for, let's say, future for 5 to 10 years. Even if you want to do PhD, that's why I always recommend people that to go for an internship. Because I mean, if you're studying, let's say, life sciences, even molecular biology also, it's a broad field.
Yeah.
And research is very narrow.
Yeah.
So if you do internship, then you figure it out, okay, yeah, this area is much more interesting for me. Or after working 6 months, you figure out, no, there are a lot of troubleshooting and failed experiments I have to deal with, then I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to continue with
Yeah.
this. So you try to jump on other fields,
Exactly.
let's say industrial area
Yeah.
or some other things.
Yeah.
And that's the best time period to explore.
Yes.
Otherwise, once you jump into PhD, then it's kind of a dull thing.
Yeah. No,
You cannot come out of that.
Yeah, and that's what actually I was thinking, that if I join a PhD, then maybe backing out would not be easy, because now I'm already in that boat. So either I can jump out, or I have to swim to go to the coast, and going to the coast will take me time. That was 4 years. Or the easy way was to just take help. And then, yes, so I explored this option, and to my surprise, I really loved it.
Oh, that's nice.
I liked it so much that I wanted to continue there.
So, was it because of different experience, or what did you like it? Like,
So what I think is there are two factors which play a major role of shaping how and why you like your job or your PhD, whatever. So my reason was my colleagues were really nice.
okay,
I had a really great mentor. My boss was so nice. So I had only 3 months in that company, and I had to learn so much,
oh,
because the consulting world is really fast.
yeah,
It moves so fast that my onboarding was for 1 week, and then I was thrown in the water.
okay,
But that onboarding was really nice, because my boss, she really made sure that I'm not just an employee who works for the company, but I'm also learning in the process.
yeah,
And this made me really feel excited about the work, because I used to wake up every day and think, what's today?
new challenge.
Something new, challenging.
Yeah.
And it's not like if you do something wrong, you will be embarrassed about it. So she was so nice. She taught me. Of course, everybody does mistakes.
Yeah.
I also did it. But I was made better with those mistakes. So in 3 months, I could already say I knew a lot. And she also told me, my boss, that yes, this process could have been for 6 months, but in 3 months, I already could learn a lot. And the best part was, people would try not to overwork, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would also not do it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't appreciate. Nobody should do it.
Yeah,
we should really follow a work-life balance,
Indeed.
which is very important. But just to tell you how excited I was about that work, I never felt bad working until 7 p.m. in the evening.
Okay.
And this made me kind of realize I like it. Because if you are like, oh, it's 5, I have to go home, close it, then there's something lacking, right?
Yeah, it's also because of the environment and,
Yes.
as you mentioned, colleagues.
It
who
plays a
are-
big role.
Yeah, indeed. Because if you have supportive environment
Yes.
where you can thrive, When you
Yes.
do, you're like 200%.
Yes.
So then your motivation is like boosting up.
Yeah.
But if environment is not good, your colleagues are not that good, then you are like, oh, okay, yeah, today also I have to go. So
Exactly.
you have this mentality.
And this is so bad. This is a burnout stage, which is, even if you like your job or even if you like your PhD, if if environment is not supportive, you feel burned out and you don't feel like working.
Yeah.
And I will also come to this point eventually. I mean, yes, so I figured out that I like it, and there were factors which helped me. Maybe if my colleagues were really not supporting, if I didn't learn too much, I would have thought, no, let's do a PhD.
Yeah.
So you see how people play a major important factor in shaping your decisions.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, they helped me, and then I started. So of course I could have worked there, but then I was like, oh no, I want another challenge.
Okay.
So I started applying for other jobs, but I knew at least that I don't want to do a PhD then.
Okay. That's a good thing actually.
Yeah.
To figure it out at early stage.
Yes, but I would say it's not bad if you also choose a PhD. So like we discussed, it's not something is right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's nothing like that. It's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's always nice to let yourself free and explore a bit.
Yeah.
Then thinking, oh, if I start something, is it wasting my time? Or what will my parents think? What will my friends think? Or how will they react to it? Because this I also faced. I got a lot of questions that, hey, you are a biologist. You should do a PhD. And this is what everybody told me. And most of my friends were doing a PhD, so I also had a bit of pressure that, am I doing something wrong? Because I will not have a doctor in front of my name. But does that make me less experienced than them?
No, not at all.
So I had to also fight with these fears and accept that what people think about you, or what your colleagues think about you, what your friends think about you is important, but at the end you have to live your life.
Yeah. So kind of you have to decide that what do you want for yourself.
Yes.
And you have to think a little bit in futuristic way, like 5 to 10 years
Yes.
ahead of that. Then only you can figure it out. And coming to this thing, like I would just like to ask some question related to this, because I just got this, that let's say if someone wants to figure it out, that what is good for them, or like how someone could figure it out, like at their, let's say, masters, when they are in masters and they are in dilemma whether to go in industry or academia, what to choose. So what would be your kind of advices or suggestions, like to figure it out, all these things?
This is the biggest dilemma, I think, for all of us. I mean, we all have gone through this stage where we were always confused. I would say there are two things which people could do. So one is just have a practical experience. Of course, I know it's not easy to dive into a PhD and come back from it because it's a commitment.
Yeah, indeed.
It's also not easy to just join a company and quit. That's also not easy.
Yeah.
But somehow you have to do something. So either, for example, if somebody is not sure if they should do a PhD or a job, maybe talk to people who have already, who are your seniors. Sometimes it helps to know from their experience.
Yeah.
But still, this would not solve your choices. And this, I would say, it's okay to take a practical experience and a risk of some months or 1 year, because maybe you will think this year might be a waste, but like you said, from 10 years down the lane, you would have saved your life.
True.
So I think it's okay to just really have a practical experience and see.
And maybe to explore around.
It's fine. I mean, nothing. So knowledge is never wasted.
Yeah.
Knowledge is never wasted. So that's completely
first
okay.
job or first research internship is not like kind of your dream job
No,
or dream
it
research
will
position.
never be.
Yeah. So you always explore something and you feel like, okay, yeah, maybe I should do something more challenging.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in your case,
Yeah.
first you joined this consulting firm and then you learned something new, you were excited, but then you wanted more challenging thing, and then you proceeded to other things.
Yes.
And that's how people should kind of pursue, to explore around, and then at the end you have to figure it out that, okay, now I have list of or diverse experiences. Where can I use all this? Because your experiences will not go like kind of, it won't be a waste.
Never a waste.
Yeah.
Never.
So you can use that in any different company
Yeah.
or different, maybe in academic position also. Yeah.
I mean, I also think that we should not be too hard on ourselves,
Oh yeah.
because this is what we always underestimate, how hard we get on ourselves, that we cannot rest a bit. Because sometimes I also feel people want to directly get a job after the masters, they don't want to break, and this also sometimes affect your decision power, right?
Yeah.
So it's also, I would like to emphasize, it's also okay to take a short break and just think about it, because sometimes you figure some answers while you are just not indulged in anything, and you take yourself some time. But like you said, of course, to just dive into that different experience and face it, and then there will be only two choices: either you will like it or you will not like it.
Yeah.
And if you like it, then it worked for you.
Wonderful. Yeah.
And you could just continue.
Yeah.
And if it did not work, then the second
Move
option
on.
is there. So I think we all should be not afraid to really think that it will waste time or experiences will be wasted.
Yeah. And be a risk taker.
Risk taker.
Yeah.
I know it's very easy to say.
It's easy to say, but also one more thing is there. So if you plan ahead, so for example, it's just a suggestion. I haven't I mean, from my experience also, it is the thing. So if you're doing masters, so within your masters already you can plan ahead.
Yeah.
So for example, let's say whether you want to do a PhD or an industrial job, and then even in this categories, you can plan like, okay, what things are there that you can do. If this doesn't work, you have something in backup plan.
Yeah.
So if you have these kind of plannings, then I think you will be successful at
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like we also discussed, there's nothing good or bad. There is nothing right or wrong.
Yeah.
So it's not like everybody is doing, so you have to do it.
Yeah.
It's okay that you can go out of the box.
Yeah.
So
And if you will have planning, then you will not be in pressure to do job directly after your masters.
exactly.
Because you know that, okay, how is the job market? What are the kind of strategies? And how I can use this meantime,
Yes.
this buffer time, let's
Yes.
say, in between your masters and job or PhD.
Yeah.
So if you have good planning, then I think
Yeah.
it will be good for everyone.
And it's really good that maybe 10 years back nobody knew, there were not too many resources to learn and to get some knowledge, but now it's really available.
Yes,
The internet is full of it. You are also doing it now, so we have
are doing-
resources. Yeah, we have resources to even if we are confused, we can take help,
Yeah.
which is really good now. So if you're confused, you can always, I think, refer to these free resources. If you're shy to ask people directly,
Yeah.
but of course it's always also good to reach out to people. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people like to share from their pain points what
Yeah.
could be improved.
Yeah, I mean, they can share their experiences, both good or bad, and then you can learn from that.
yeah.
And yeah, as you said, that don't hesitate to reach out. And on this point, you can reach out to Pratika as well on LinkedIn or on Instagram, wherever you want.
Yeah, I will be
I guess
glad
you
to
will be
help.
happy to,
I will be very
answer
happy to
people's,
help wherever I can.
if they have any
Yeah.
particular question. Yeah. So yeah, coming back again to your journey after, like, in this masters and transition phase. So
Yeah, so I did this job in consultancy and I really liked it. And then I thought, okay, now I learned something already. Let's move to something else. But this, I was sure, okay, I have to do a job. I was sure. And of course, because I was from biology, I again wanted to go in biology or in pharma company. And then I applied to some places, and finally I got this offer from Freiburg, a biotechnology company in Freiburg, where I was initially hired as a product development employee. So I was in the product development team in the research part. And after some time, I moved to the commercial team. So I now take care of customer relationships, sales, and business development. So for me also, it was nice to first do what I've done for years, like research. So join it as a starting point, but eventually I could change it to the business part of the company. Because actually I belong to a business family. And people always also kind of ask me this question, that why I chose biology. And I also kind of asked myself that why I was never interested in business, and I was not. To be really honest, as a child, I was annoyed by the dinner conversations between my dad and my brother, which was just consuming my time and my mind in business.
Okay.
But here I am now, because they say it always lasts in the blood.
Indeed.
And I'm happy to tell you that I really enjoy this part of my job. So it's really interesting for me to talk to clients. I really like this part where you do strategic planning, you talk to clients, and you really solve their problem. So this is something I really like, the troubleshooting, to know what you can do with your product, help them. Yeah.